Mark chapter 5. They went to the other side of the sea, to the region of the Gadarenes. As he left the boat, he encountered a man coming from the graveyard who had unclean spirits. He lived in the graveyard, and no one could restrain him, even with chains. Every time he had been confined with shackles and chains, he broke the chains and burst the shackles. No one could restrain him. Continually, night and day, he was in the graveyard and in the mountains, crying and cutting himself with stones. When he saw Yeshua from a distance, he ran and fell down in front of him. He called out with a shrill voice, "What do you want with me, Yeshua, Son of the highest Eloah? I beg you, in the name of Jehovah, not to torment me." He had already told him, "Unclean spirit, come out of the man." He asked him, "What is your name?" He replied, "My name is Legion, because there are many of us." He begged him not to send them out of the region. There was a large herd of swine feeding on the mountain. The demons begged him, "Send us to those swine so that we can enter them." He allowed them, and the unclean spirits came out of the man and went into the swine. The herd of about 2,000 rushed down a steep cliff and plunged into the sea and drowned in the water. The herdsmen ran away and reported it in the city and in the villages. So the people came out to see what had happened. They came to see Yeshua and saw the man who had been possessed by the legion of demons sitting there clothed and sane. And they were afraid. Those who had seen it explained to them what had happened to the man with the demons and to the swine. After this, they begged him to leave their region. As he got into the boat, the man who had been demon-possessed begged to go with him, but he didn't allow him. He told him, "Go home to your family and tell them what Jehovah has done for you and how he has had mercy on you." He went away and began to herald in Decapolis about what Yeshua had done for him, and they were all amazed. When Yeshua crossed over by boat to the other side, a large crowd gathered around him again by the seashore. One of the leaders of the synagogue, named Jairus, came up, and when he saw him, he fell at his feet and pled with him, "My daughter is very sick, but you can come lay your hands on her, and she will be cured and live." So Yeshua went with him, and a large crowd followed him and crowded around him. A woman there had a hemorrhage for 12 years. She had suffered much under many physicians and had spent everything she had. Yet she was no better at all. She was actually getting worse. When she heard about Yeshua, she came up behind him and the huddled crowd and touched his clothes, because she thought, "If I can just touch his clothes, I'll live." Immediately the bleeding stopped, and she felt in her body that she had been healed of her illness. Yeshua immediately knew that power had left him, so he turned around in the crowd and asked, "Who touched my clothes?" His disciples asked him, "You see the crowd pressing against you on every side, and yet you ask, 'Who touched me?'" He looked around to see who had done it. The woman, trembling with fear because she knew what had happened to her, so she came and fell down before him and told him exactly what had happened. He told her, "Daughter, your faith has saved your life. Go with peace of mind and be healed from your illness." While he was still speaking, some men from the leader of the synagogue's house came and said, "Your daughter is dead. Why bother the master?" But Yeshua overheard what they had said and told the synagogue leader, "Don't be afraid, just believe." He didn't allow anyone to go with him except Simon Cephas, James, and John, James' brother. When they came to the synagogue leader's home, he saw a lot of commotion with people crying and wailing. He went inside and asked, "Why all the commotion and crying? The girl isn't dead. She's only asleep." They began laughing at him, but Yeshua put them all out. He took the girl's father and mother and those who were with him and went in where the girl was. He took the girl's hand and told her, "Little girl, get up." Immediately the girl got up and began to walk. Everyone was astonished and ecstatic. He gave them strict orders not to let anyone know about this, and told them to give her something to eat.